Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off another episode. So if you thought last week's episode about Dragon Quest XI was all you were going to hear about Dragon Quest for a while, you were wrong, and so was I. This past week, off the back of the Dragon Quest XI Western reveal last week, we got a ton more information about a whole range of other Dragon Quest games that are coming in the coming years and months. So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So at the Dragon Quest Summer Festival 2017, Square Enix came out and made a range of different announcements. The first one for today relates to Dragon Quest 1, 2 and 3. Each of those classic games that have been remade a little bit over the journey are coming to PS4 and 3DS. The first two, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, are coming out today in Japan, and they're going to be followed by Dragon Quest 3 later this month. Now these are big meaty games, so don't expect any of your Japanese fans to actually get to them in quick time, but they're coming out this month, and that's awesome news for people who are fans of the classic Dragon Quest games. Second piece of news today relates to Dragon Quest X. The game, which is currently only available in Japan, is getting a new expansion that's called The 5,000 Year Journey to a Faraway Hometown, and it's coming November 16th to PC, PS4, Switch and Wii U. If you're a PS4 owner of the game, then you actually get the opportunity to play a demo that will be made available next week, which is a really cool advantage for those who've got that particular system. Our third and final point for today relates to Dragon Quest Builders 2, a game that was just announced at the same event. Dragon Quest Builders was a hit when it first came out in 2016 for PS4. Now it's coming to PS4, this sequel, is coming to PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, which causes some issues because the engine that the original game used was a Sony developed one, so presumably Builders 2 is going to be running on a different engine. But basically they've made a bunch of different improvements. They're adding slopes, the ability to kind of build water reservoirs of sorts, and look, just make a lot of refinements to the original game. Those who loved Minecraft were typically a big fan of the Dragon Quest Builders game because it's quite similar. I personally am not a fan of Minecraft and really heavily gravitated to this game. It might be one to keep an eye out for when it releases, presumably sometime next year. Some other points to note about the game is that it's going to feature 4-player co-op, and it's also, and this is kind of important, it's going to be, in terms of a story context, is going to be focused upon the story of Dragon Quest II and the particular boss that was at the end of that game. It's going to be framed around it, just like the original game was framed around the key story of Dragon Quest I. So that concludes another episode of The Insider for yet another week. It was a fairly quiet week this week, but it is important to note that in the case of these Dragon Quest games, none of them have a Western release date yet, though we can assume that at least some of them, perhaps not Dragon Quest X, but the others will. This is added to the fact that Dragon Quest XI got a formal Western release announcement last week, so there's lots of news for Dragon Quest fans out there. If you've liked what you've seen in this episode, please make sure to like, share and subscribe down below, where you can catch up with weekly episodes of The Insider, Patched, The Video Games Club, there's weekly Player 2 Plays videos, and a whole bunch more content that you can only find here at the channel. If for written content, make sure to visit player2.net.au, where there's awesome written content from some of Australia's best talent. We really have some fantastic stuff there, and it's well worth checking out. Make sure also, August 26th, and it's only about 2 weeks from now, is the Player 2 Marathon, a massive charitable event that we're supporting the Terry Campese Foundation. And for $5, only $5, you can get some entries into the draw there, where you can win some games that have been sent to us by a range of different publishers that are all for your enjoyment if you win the prize. Other than that, my name's Paul James. Please make sure to catch up with me at PaulJamesP2 on Twitter, the website Player2AU on Twitter. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.